Tim, with only 2 sell ratings, the street seems pretty bullish on Micron, but you're not a fan.
I'll add a sell rating. I get the AI adjacency. I get the dynamic with HBM, and they certainly have a product. And in terms of the revenue growth, off of some cyclical lows in 23, part of this is a company that was the ultimate cyclical semiconductor, and in a commoditized DRAM and NAND environment. So 23 to 24, either way, was getting better. Inventory levels are a lot better. But the excitement around HBM is part of where, I get it, but I also understand where I don't think they're going to stand alone like NVIDIA does on the AI chip side. I think in memory, there is competition. I think this move in the stock, it's 65 to 70% year to date. It's 225% off of the beginning of 23 when you couldn't get arrested with this stock. So to me, if there is any kind of euphoria or hyperbolic move in AI and AI adjacency, this is the top of the list. So they're going to have to crush it, and they're going to have to really guide. And I understand that the company, look, they're marketing HBM as the complement to AI, a must-have, dynamic. I don't think they're the only ones in the space. All
right. Micron CEO Sanjay Mehrotra, by the way, will sit down with Jim Cramer tomorrow for an exclusive post-earnings interview. That will be at 6 p.m. Eastern, and you won't want to miss it. Tim, as we move on from chips, I want to just hit a couple of other reports on deck, like Levi. And by the way, those shares are up 40% this year because denim's made a comeback among Gen Z. We have Stifel raising its price target on the stock, citing strong consumer action, category relevance. And there's others bullish as well. According to FactSet, the street doesn't have a single sell rating on Levi's. It's kind of the next Abercrombie, isn't it?
I think they should have some sells on this thing. Again, this is a company that the street's saying is going to go from $1 to $2 in earnings. In other words, they're going to double their earnings profile. They've made certainly some investments into DTC and some digital dynamics that I think are very margin friendly. But again, AI play or yesterday's jeans. I mean, I get that denim is happening. We see the impact that apparently denim trends have had on Lululemon, low rise, wide leg, whatever we're talking about. It's not enough to take this stock to a multiple that just makes no sense. I think consumer discretionary is under pressure. I think the move this stock has had, again, compare this to a pre-COVID world. I don't think their business has been innovated much in the same way other places have. So, no, I'd be a seller of this. This is a move that has gone too far in a street that's saying they're going to double earnings by the end of next year.
Leaning against it. I like it. Levi CEO Michelle Goss will talk everything from earnings to denim trends tonight with Jim Cramer, 6 p.m. Eastern, Mad Money. It's going to be a fun lineup he's got the next couple days. Finally, Tim McCormick. Those shares are down 7% over the past month as they're struggling last quarter with that private label competition. This is the story across all of consumers. They lifted prices to combat rising input costs. Consumers are pushing back. They're trading down. Citi upgraded the stock earlier this month, citing improving trends in the segment. But do you think that's actually the case?
I think the valuation's now at a place where it's kind of interesting. I mean, the Spice Girls are back, but the Spice trade was like a COVID thing that I don't think it was a once-in-a-generation story. So I think you have a case on multiple. 24 times is 4 turns below the 5-year average. I think the volume growth focus is going to be margin heavy, but I think the street has priced this one in. I think the market is giving you an opportunity.
You would be a buyer here?
Let's put it this way. Of all the stocks we've mentioned today, this is the one that at least has a fundamental story that matches a valuation. I understand the cyclical secular trends that are at work in a couple of the other plays, although I don't know if it's in jeans. But, yeah, I can own Spices at 24 times. I also look at that chart. I look at where it's traded. It's a company that gave a pretty good guide at Investor Day in terms of how they're targeting volume growth, and it makes sense to me.